Hey guys, Steve here for Who Took My Dice. Welcome to a very special blast from the past episode. Now this one came out of a somebody, I'll get to that in a second, wanting to see my dice collection. He asked the question. It would be Wolf Brother Mythos. We'll give it to him in a second. I have a pretty extensive dice collection. I've got a whole little bag of it, but they're just black, white, and red dice. There's nothing special about them. I do have some older dice though that I got when I worked at Games Workshop way back 2007 to 2009. But it also got me thinking, I also wanted to show off some models that I got for being an employee of Games Workshop. So we'll get to those two. First off, the dice. Now, these are some pretty cool dice for various events, and the bonus of being a Games Workshop employee back then, other than the fact that it was really easy and cheap to get models, what's cool things like dice. So first off, don't know if you can see these. I'll show them off here. These are, if you can read it, it says Insane Courage. This was dice was handed out for the 30th anniversary of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Insane Courage. If you ever played Fantasy, it was your leadership test, right? It's actually the one on these dice is Insane and Courage. Basically, back then in the day, the way combat worked out is you took how many wounds you caused. You added things like the rank of your models, because everybody's ranked up in multiple ranks. If you had a banner, you got a +1. And you tried to outdo your opponent. Obviously, you do lots of damage. If you were flanking or being flanked, that changed how much you did, and whatever the difference was, that's what you subtracted from your leadership. So if you got outflanked, you got hit hard, you were in a tough spot. Insane Courage, you could pass. You could have one guy left facing down Archaon himself. If you roll Insane Courage, he's staying. They're cool. I mean, they got nice little multicolors. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's lots of little multicolors in them and swirls. It's hard to see with this light, sorry. Very, very cool dice. All the little pips are supposed to be gold. Cool dice there. The next set, this was from at least a Canada-wide. I don't know if it was in any other countries, but Canada-wide we had this thing when we had a Games Workshop Canada, its own separate entity from Games Workshop US. We had what was called Brother versus Brother, and it was a mega battle. It went across Canada, all the different stores, and it was a Salamander Space Marine Army versus a Blood Ravens Space Marine Army. Blood Ravens were kind of the thing at that point. They were in the Dawn of War game. There was a Dawn of War, Winter Assault, Dark Crusade, and Soulstorm, and of course Dawn of War 3. But these were the games of this time. They had an Index Astartes and the White Dwarf. They just sort of started popping up. So of course I got myself, I don't know if you see this, some Blood Raven dice. Nice. The 6 on these is the Blood Raven symbol. Of course, we're Salamander dice, so though these are the ones I got. Again, they're cool. They're red. They got the swirls, some black, red, white, and swirls in there, and of course the Blood Raven symbol there. Some really cool dice. Again, I got these well, I was working then, but helping out with the mega battle. They just gave them to everybody. Now, it wouldn't be a blast from the past without some of these dice. Now, I don't know if you guys know these dice. This one's got some arrows on it, a little bullseye target there. I don't know, this one's got a bunch of numbers and a little exclamation mark on there. So what are those? Well, if you never played Warhammer Fantasy Battle or Warhammer 40,000 back before 8th, you have no idea what these are. Well, this is a blast dice, and this is an artillery die. So whether you're playing in Fantasy, you'd roll both at the same time. This one indicated where your shot went, so either it could bullseye, or it could go in a multitude of different directions depending on where it rolled. And this one could indicate how many shots you got. That was actually a misfire. It was bad. That would be a crew member of your unit dying, maybe just not being able to fire, the whole cannon just exploding. Those were back in the day. So these are really old. These haven't been around for years now, obviously, and they changed up. They've varied depending on which version of the game you're playing. I played Empire when I played Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and I had a cannon, and I was pretty adept at it, but you always dreaded this one, because you're like, either I'm just going to be able to fire next turn, but you always dread losing a crew member, or even worse, exploding and just going off the table, which was always a pain in the butt. So that's some of the special dice I had. Now, again, I got those because I worked at Games Workshop. But now we're going to switch over to some of the models I got. And these are really cool because these were, I don't know, these were just, it was something, it was one of those nice little bonuses to working at Games Workshop, knowing you were going to get this special model. It was rather limited because you worked there. It was sort of a nice little treat. So we're going to dive into those right now. We're going to change perspective on that, and we'll be back. The first one up is, yes, my 9th company captain. Now, when this model came out, it was a Games Day Canada model. It didn't have this backpack or the chainsword arm. It actually had a backpack with a metal banner to it. The whole model was metal, and the left arm was actually a Stormbolt arm. It was a cool little one. I think it originally came out at the same time in 4th edition with the other versions of the veteran sergeants. There was a whole box set of metal veteran sergeants, or even veterans. You could use them as you want. But yeah, it came with a big Stormbolt arm, or oversized Stormbolt. It was huge. We got it for Games Day Canada in, I think, 2007. It was a fun little model to have, and I decided to turn it into a captain. Now, this one was cool. I can't remember. I think it was for the release of an Orc army book. This guy was an Orc Nob or war boss. I can't remember. It came out, his arms crossed. Now, you can see the hole there. He actually had a big shield, and this little knob here held a sword, a big, huge choppa of some sort. Of course, it's for fantasy. It actually says Orcs on the bottom, the fantasy way. And it had came with this cool little snotling there, trying to give the same attitude, obviously, without any power to back it up. I actually looked for the shield and sword. I couldn't find them in any of my bits boxes, so they'll probably put somewhere else, but it's a fantastic little model. And what's really cool is with the release of the Beast Snag is he actually kind of fits in. He's got some hide there, the feathers or the furs up here. I could even turn him into a knob or maybe a boss. I'll actually, you know, I'm going to put that out to you guys out there who have the new book, or if you guys let me know what kind of weapons these guys can have. Maybe a huge choppa, if that still exists. I know I have choppas, and I have a whole bunch of other chain swordy or sword-like things. I can make a big ass weapon to go on his back. Let me know. Let me know. I'm talking to you, Mythos. You got the book, so let me know, man. Let me know. Yeah, this is another one I got, you know, for working there way back in the day. It is a fantastic model. It's heavy. There's some heft to it. It looks pretty beefy. Looks pretty orky. Got a bag, which the weight looks like, I think it's supposed to be a skull or something. Who knows? He just looks tough. And of course, the little snotling that wishes he was that tough. Now, the last one is a really, really cool one. And it came, again, like those dice from the anniversary of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Now, this one was really cool. We actually had a massive party one day, huge party. At this point, when I was working, we had 2 stores in Ottawa. One where I was and one in Saint Laurent. They were actually pretty far apart, and we had a friendly competition going through who could sort of out-craze the other. At one point, well, we had posters everywhere. We put up streamers. The Games Workshop provided us with these little blow-up hammers that look like war hammers. We're bonking each other. We had those those fake tattoos of like with empire crosses and skulls, or repent. I actually had repent tattooed on my forehead. Obviously not permanently. It was a ton of fun. Now, this model was really, really cool. It was probably the best model I ever got. There's some that I've since sold or traded away, so which is unfortunate, but it happens. This one, even now, well over a decade later, I finally put together for this video. It is one of my favorites. There's so much character because it's 3 characters. So we're gonna get to that right now. It was a really cool time. Our area manager was there. He was fantastic. It was just amazing. It was so much fun. Probably one of the most fun times I had working there. So we're gonna dive into that. So please say hello to the White Dwarf, Joseph Bugman, and Go Trek. This was the big anniversary model. So you have the White Dwarf standing atop of a shield, and his shield bearers being Go Trek and Joseph. Now, if you're not familiar with how dwarves worked back in the day, your dwarf lords could have shield bearers, right? It made them tougher, just a whole bunch of added bonuses. Now this is obviously 3 of the biggest characters that you could get at the time, and in one model. There was lots of magical attacks, really tough, lots of armor, lots of ward saves, just tons of attacks thanks to Gotrek here. It could heal thanks to Bugman's Brew. It was a fantastic model. We actually had one painted up, and we put it through its paces, and it wiped out the floor with pretty much everything except one very sneaky build, which was a goblin on a squig with a specialized weapon that literally tore this thing apart, because the weapon got more powerful the more magical items you had on the opponent, and these guys are just festooned with magical items. The axes, the armor, the cloaks, everything. But it was just a fantastic set. I can't wait to paint this up. This is going to be a long time project. Now, this is not the base it came on. I put this together for another reason, and what I'm going to deal with in another video. But yeah, this was by far my favorite model I ever got while working at Games Workshop. Yeah, it is just absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Can't wait to get it done. So there you go, guys. I was glad to share with you some really cool dice that I got a long time ago when I worked at Games Workshop. Some of the really cool models I was given for being an employee there. And some little memories, a true blast from the past, my past this time instead of the hobbies. It was a lot of fun going through this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I love seeing more people join the community. If you haven't, hit the little notification button. I'm doing this every Monday now, as I promised, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. As always, guys, thank you. Keep rolling those dice. We'll see you later.